Code Media, a full-stack MERN web application. Hi friends, you're welcome to the first part of this video where we are going to be building this awesome social media application using React and Redux for the global state management for our web app. With the ability to toggle between the light theme and dark theme mode, you are also going to learn how to create this awesome and amazing UI using React and Sass for the styling. And you are also going to be using Redux for the theme management itself in this series. In following me along this course, you are going to learn how to use Redux for the theme management in React, how to create variables and partial files in SCSS or Sass. Also, you are going to learn how to use SCSS component, that is reusable SCSS code in your MERN stack project. Haven't you noticed that you're always using the display flex align items and justify content to centralize component? And in this series, you are not going to be using that, else rather you are going to be using CSS components within your code. That is amazing. Follow along with me in this course and I promise you won't regret it. And I'll see you in the build. Peace. So instead of my desktop, I'm going to open it inside of my terminal directly, and I'm going to run git clone -b, which is I want to clone a single branch. Then I give the branch name, which is according to this we are going to clone the RSM starter. So you can copy the branch name, then go back here, you put the branch name that you want to clone. So you say RSM, yes, starter. Then you paste the repository link. Then after a particular time, it is going to clone the repository. As you can see here, it is done, which means that if I go back to my desktop, I can see here the new folder that has been created, which means that instead of my desktop here, I can now rename this to be client, because this is a client side. And I can open this in other applications and I'll select VS Code. So that's the VS Code, everything running and okay. So here is the folder structure. We have the components where we have all our components that we're going to be using here. We have the feed sidebar. All of them are just React. The RFC for the React arrow function export, which we are not going to be using that much. So as you can see, all of them. And also that's for the components. Inside of my constant, I just have one constant here, which is importing all the images, the icons and everything, the dummy data that we're going to be using for this project. And we also have our images, here they are. Then we have the pages that we're going to be using. We have the home page, we have the login page, the post page, the profile page, the profile edit page and the register page, all of them which are just React components with the export. And also inside of our Redux here, for now we have just 3 files here. We have the store, which is empty, the theme empty, the theme services, which is also empty. Great. Then also the styles. Here is the styles file, the styles folder, which contains all of our styles. As you can see, all of them, they're just empty except these 3 files, which is the constants. These constants are just a group of CSS that we're going to be using. Anywhere that we need to be using the display flex align items, we can just use the include flex align, and it's going to come with this particular code for us to use. I'll also have a variables here. These are the variables that we're going to be using. And inside also my app.css,
I have here inside of my root, we have the root here. As you can see, I'm importing all this variable file, this constant, these partial files. They are called partial files in SCSS because they start with underscore. So if you want to import them, you can import them using this import, and you give them their file path. Then when you import these partial files, you are going to see that it's going to remove these underscores automatically. And also, I'm styling the anchor tags. All the anchor tags that we're going to be using in this project, they are going to be having the color of inherit and the style decoration, and yeah, and this is also a big starter. You can see inside of this flex direction here, this is the flex direction here, which has, it takes in a direction parameter, then it goes towards that direction. Okay, so with everything now set, you're going to open your terminal by clicking either Ctrl J, or you go to view, then you go to terminal. But since mine was just open, so you can go to view terminal, then you run npm install, then you wait for the installation to be done. After the installation is done, you can come back. Okay, so the packages are done installing, which means I can clear my terminal, and I can run sudo npm start. If you want, you can run npm start, but for this particular case, I'm using sudo npm start. Actually, it makes my machine to be more powerful with the sudo npm start. So yeah, if you're using sudo npm start, it's going to ask for your password, which means you need to write your password. So I'm going to write my password. Okay, so when you're done writing your password, it is going to start running automatically. Let me close everything here. Let me open my app.js file. Yeah, let me remove this toast. That was an error, I forgot it actually. Instead of my app.js file here, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap it first of all with the browser router coming from React Router DOM, and let me close it like this. The first, we are going to have in here our route. There is also coming the routes, but in routes also we are going to be using the routes also. So the first route that we are going to have in our project is going to be for the home page. So route, and that takes in here a path to be equals to the first route that we're going to create, and it has also an element equals to, which equals home. So you can import the home. We are going to import it very soon. And also we are going to be using 5 other routes, which is going to be the second one, which is going to be for login, and the third, which is going to be for register, and the fourth, which is going to be for the profile, and it takes in a parameter that is going to be the profile ID, and yeah, it's going to be for profile slash, you have the parameter ID, and you have also edit. Then you have the last route, which is going to be for the post, and you have also, it takes in the parameter the post ID. So I'm going to say import. I'm going to import all of these pages. So I'm going to say import from pages like that, and the first one, which is going to be home, comma, the other one is going to be for the login. We have also the register, we have the profile, then we have the profile edit, then also we have the post, just like that. And inside you have login. We are going to have also for register, we are also going to have for the profile, then we are going to have for the profile edit, then we are going to have for the post. Okay, great, having in this way. So now mine is compiling, which means that very soon it will be done. So after having this, let's go to the home component, which is this one, the home page. What we are going to be having here inside of this home page is going to be we are going to have here a class name, which is going to be for app underscore home, and inside of here we are going to have a div, let me say div, and this div is going to have a class name, which is going to be for the home container, just like that. And below it we are going to also import our nav bar like this. Let me import also all of the components that we're going to be using here. So first thing first, here we're going to say import. Here, what are we importing? We are importing the nav bar, and also we are also importing the sidebar from. We want to go /out of the pages directory, and we want to take it inside of the components, just like that. Then also we want to take in feed sidebar like this, and also we want to take in the home loader, and we want to take in the post, then we want to take in also the share, just like this. Now inside of here where we have this, just above here we are going to have the sidebar, which is going to be a self-closing tag. Then inside of the home container we are going to have another div here, which is going to be having a class name equal to home content, which is going to take in another div, which is going to have a class name of the post wrapper container, like this, and you close the div, then where you can have the share components, then also you are going to have here the post component. Then just beneath this div we are going to have here the feed sidebar, just like that, and everything, you already have it. We are going to come back to this home guy here very soon. So I think everything here is done inside of my browser, and I go to localhost 3000. Now you can see here we have everything. So now let's start with designing our sidebar. So if I go here in my components and I take my sidebar here, we already have it imported inside of his stars sheet file, so we don't have any trouble while working with our project. So inside of our sidebar here, we are going to first of all import some couple of things. The first one which we are going to import is going to be from the React icon. So we are going to say here import here by BI-moon, and we are also going to have BI search. Then we are also going to have BI sun, like this, which is going to be coming from react hyphen icons slash bi, like that. And also we are going to be importing also import, this one is going to be coming from, this is going to be coming from the constants and slash dummy, like this. And this is going to be importing, we are going to be importing here the sidebar route, like this. Then also we are going to be importing import the link, and also we are going to be importing the nav link from react router DOM. Then the last thing, but we are not going to be using it from now, it is going to be import. This is going to be use this patch and also use selector from, this is going to be coming from react redux, like this. Then just beneath here we are going to say, instead of our sidebar here, first of all we are going to give it a class name, which is going to be class name app underscore sidebar. And let's remove this text. Oops, let's remove that text that we had. And the first guy we're going to have here is going to be an h2, which is going to be for, which is going to have also an attribute of class name, and this attribute is going to be called the sidebar underscore logo, which is going to have a link, let me wrap it, a link to, which is going to go to the home, and is going to have a content which is just going to say code media, like that. I'm going to go out of it, going to go inside of here, where I'm going to have a div with a class name input container, and inside of my input container I'm going to have the bi search icon, and also I'm going to have an input which is going to have a type equals to the text, and also is going to have a placeholder which is going to say explore code media, like this, 3 dots. Don't forget to close your input. Then beneath this div we are going to have our UL, which is going to have a class name of sidebar routes, and close it, where we are going to have here this sidebar dot map, and we want to take each route and the index of the route, where we want to return automatically a nav link nav link, which also takes in the to property and is going to be the route.path path, and it is going to have a key of index, so that the key needs to be unique, which is also going to take here the route.icon. Then for the last, which is going to be here, is going to be say route.name. Then after mapping through this guy here, we are going to have beneath this UL, we're going to have the last div, which is going to have a class name of sidebar theming, and which is also going to have an on-click handler here, which is just going to say handle, maybe let's say for now change theme. We haven't created it yet, so we are going to create it above. So we are going to have also the div inside of this sidebar theming div, which is going to have a class name also to be equals to theme. Then here we are going to just have the text here that is going to say theme, and just beneath this div, I'm just going to duplicate this div. I'm going to change this one here. This div here is going to be having some dynamic content here. It is going to be for the toggle theme, and for now we are just going to put in here a variable that is going to be for the theme. We haven't created it yet, so as we are working, we are going to see this variable very soon that we're going to create. So, and inside here we're going to have another div, which is going to just say a class name of icon, and inside of the icon here, when you're done with it, you close the div. You are going to now say theme. If it triple equals to, let's say, dark for now, we are going to render the by moon component or the by moon icon. Else, if it is not dark, you are going to render this bi sun, just like this. So let's come above this return statement here, and let me first of all save everything. I'm having some errors here. Let us first of all define all these variable here. So I'm going to first of all say here, let the theme, or let me say const theme equals to light. Now for now, let this just be equal to dark. And here I'm going to say here const handle change theme, which is going to be an arrow function, and for now it is just going to be like that. So I think everything inside of my sidebar here, everything needs to be working. So yeah, you can see it. So now is a great time for us to start styling our sidebar. So if you go inside of your sidebar here, your sidebar.scss here, let's see what this sidebar we're going to have. So first thing first, we're going to have our app underscore sidebar, and the first thing we want to give it a height of is going to have the height of 100 view height, and also is going to have a background, and we're going to give it this primary. Then we're going to also give it a width of 25%. Then also is going to have some padding here of gap. Then transition for the little animation, which is going to be trans, the trans variable that we created, and is going to also have some border right here, border right, which is going to be for var border, and also is going to have some position here, position, it is going to be sticky, and also is going to have where is it supposed to be sticky. We are going to give it a top of 0, and also let's include here, add include flex. We are going to use flex direction here, which is going to take in the direction variable. Where is it supposed to go? We want it to be directed to the column, just like this. And if I open my, you can see how the sidebar has already started taking some form. Now if you go down, if you scroll down, you cannot see the other guys because they are beneath this particular sidebar. That's why like they come on top of it. So now inside of our sidebar, now we are also going to give it here a gap. Rather of us giving margin here, we are going to give it a gap like this. Then now you can see now the different, how we are sticking the spacing with the rest. Okay, great. Now we are going to select the h2 that is inside of it, give it the color of var, which is going to be the B color, which stands for the blue color. And if you save it just like that. So let me shift my text editor since I'm styling, so that we can just see directly how it is making the changes. So I'm going to take in my input container, dot input container. First thing first, I want to first of all include the flex align property. As you can see, it has changed this input container where we had the icon. Also I'm going to give it the gap of, it's going to have a gap of SM gap, just like that. Then it's going to have also a background here of var. This variable is going to be for the accent color 1C, and we are going to also give it some padding inside of here, which is going to have 0 top and bottom, and left and right, which is going to be SM gap, just like that. Then also going to have border radius, some border radius of 5 pixel, just like this. So for now you can see really the changes, but when we are done with the input, where we are going to be working on right now, input here, first thing first, instead of our input here, we are going to say include input, just like this, and it is going to make some changes. Then we are going to also say color is going to be var text color, just like this. So actually, seem as if our styles are not being applied. This is because I need to go inside of my home page, and I need to give my home needs to be having a width of 100%. So I'm going to navigate to my home.css file, home.css here. First of all, instead of my home.css here, I'm going to take my app home, remember, and I'm going to give it a width of 100% so that it falls in the required width. As you can see now, everything has changed here. Some display of flex display like that, sorry for the typo, and also give it here a transition which is going to be for all trans like this. Then first of all, target my home container. Then instead of my home container here, width of 25 minus 100%, which is going to be 75. Width here is going to be 75%, and also it is going to say include here, which is going to be flex direction, which is going to say a column like this. As you can see now, here all the default components that were below this sidebar, now they are now showing themselves here, which is great. Now instead of this, let us take here, we're going to give it some gap here, which is going to say here for gap for now, which is going to separate all of these guys from each other. Then also we are going to say padding of bottom of also gap, just like this. Then also the home content dot home content is just going to have here, I'm going to say at include, let me say flex direction, and here is going to be for row, and also we are going to give it here gap of gap, and also we are going to give it some padding of 0 top and bottom, and left and right is going to be gap like this. Then now in our post wrapper container, just like this, we are going to give this post a width of 70% like that, and give it also a gap, and also this flex direction, which is going to be for colon. So let me just paste it there like this. So now you can see everything now has been shared in its own default styling that we've given it so far. So great. Now inside of my sidebar, let me continue with my sidebar now. Inside of my sidebar, we ended at the input. So now you can now see here that you can type inside of the search bar. So great. So I'm going to go now outside of this input container here, where I'm going to target this sidebar routes, and what I'm going to see here, say I'm going to first of all include this flex direction, and also I'm going to give them some gap of same gap, a small gap, so you can now see how they've aligned to each other. And also I'm going to say list style to be none. Don't forget, since it was a UL, then I'm going to target the anchor tags that were within it. First of all, here I'm going to say add include flex align, so that I can center them vertically, and also going to give it some gap here of SM gap, and also inside of here where I'm going to have some padding of 0.5 rem top and bottom, and SM gap left and right. So beneath it, I'm also going to have some border radius of 5 pixels. Then I'm going to have my cursor set to be pointer. Then transition trans variable, just like this. So now, for now, nothing is showing. So before we add the hover functionality here, why we use the nav link is because the nav link comes with some already pre-built styling, which if I'm using the nav link, I can actively, or I can say I can determine the current route, and I can apply some stylings to the current route by using the .active. I can now give it a background, let's say background of maybe red. So it's going to now select the active route, and now it's going to apply it to red, because we have our active route here is the home. That's why it selects the home and give it the color of red, the background color of red. But we don't want to use red for this case. We want to use, inside of our background here, we want to use the var accent color, just like that. And we're also going to have some color which is going to come in from this var b color, and we are going to have also font width of bold, like this. So we have now this active route, which means I can go back to this other route, but after coming back to the home, is going to apply the stylings back to the home route, which is great. Now also you can also apply the hover effect on it. So I'm going to say hover where we're going to say, instead of a hover here, we're just going to give it a background and some paddings, so that when I hover on it, it gives some little transitions. And oh, I made an error here. I forgot it's a pseudo class, so that's why it wasn't applying. So now if I go back now here, you can see with the smooth transitions and everything, which makes it to be incredible, which is great. So now outside of this sidebar routes, we are going to take the sidebar theming. Instead of this sidebar theming, we are going to have, first of all, position of absolute. Then also we want to give it, is going to come in from the bottom this time around, not from the top, bottom of 10 pixels. Then we want to also include flex align. As you can see here, we went to the bottom. Then where we're going to have some padding of 5 pixels. Then also we're going to have border radius of 18 pixels. and also we're going to have some gap, which is going to be gap like this. Then it is going to have some cursor, which is going to be for the pointer. Then instead of here, we're going to take the toggle theme, instead of which we are going to have here width of 100. We're going to have a width of 100 pixels. We are going to have a background of var secondary color. Then also after the var, we are going to give it also a height of 40 pixels, so you can see it. Yeah, this is the height. There we have it. Then also don't forget to give it your border radius. So I'm just going to copy this border radius this time around, since we want the corners to be fully rounded. So we're going to take now the height divided by 2, so it's going to give us 20 pixels. So if I save it now, you're going to see the borders are going to be fully rounded. Okay, then after that, which means that we can remove this border radius here because we don't really use the border radius there. After the border radius, we want to give it here a position. The position, instead of here to be relative transition of the trans variable, just like that. So now you have it. But now inside of the toggle theme, we have the icon. So I'm going to say the icon, and the icon here is having a height. So I'm going to say a height of 30 pixels, and also a width of 30 pixels. So if I save it, nothing is going to change. And also it is going to include here, let me say include flex center like this, so that it centralizes it. Then inside of here, we are going to give it here a position of absolute. You can have the top of 0, and also it's going to have the bottom of 0. Then it's going to have the left of 2 pixels. Then we are going to give it also the border radius here, instead of pixels is going to be 50%, so that the background can be rounded. Then after that, we are going to give this guy here a background of the var, which is going to be for the primary color like this. We want to give it some transition of all trans. Then also margin of auto, that is going to be top and bottom. Then 5 pixels left and right, just like this. So now you can see somehow a little bit centralized. So let me finish with it. Then also we are going to give it a box shadow of 006 pixels RGB, this, so that it can be visible. Oh, I forgot here to put in before using that. So now there you have it. So now you can see now everything has been applied. For now you click it, nothing is going to happen because we have not yet added any functionality for us to make it happen. So now instead of this icon here, I'm going to say %, which is going to be for the dark like this. Instead of the dark, I want to target the icon, and I want to give it a left of it's going to have 58 pixels like this. So now when it is dark, it is going to bring it directly to the left of 58 pixels automatically, since now our theme is dark. So if I go back, maybe instead of my sidebar, and I change this to light, and I save it here, you see it is going to bring this guy back, because the theme now, it is not light. So because the theme now, it is light and it is not dark. So if I bring it here and I bring it back to dark, so it is going to now bring it back to the left side. Okay, great, sweet. So now we are done with our sidebar. Now let's move on to our nav bar. So let me close every tab we have here. Let me go to the nav bar. Instead of the nav bar, let's import everything we are going to be using. Let's import the hi bell from icons, and it's going to be from, this one is going to be coming from hi 2. Let's import again field page from React AI. Then we are going to import also, let me increase the width, let me expand the width. We are going to import also the link from React router-dom. Instead of a nav bar, we are going to give it a class name attribute, which is going to have the name set to be app_nav bar, then which is going to have the content of, here we are going to say here a div, which is going to have also a class name of the left nav bar. Let me close it. Then we're going to have another one, which is going to be for the right nav bar. Now instead of our left nav bar, we are going to have here a div, another div that is just going to be for having a class name which is going to be equals to name for now, and it's just going to have a paragraph, and that paragraph content is just going to be home. We are going to have a UL that is not going to have any class name, and we are just going to have some LIs, and the first LI is going to be for explore, the second LI is going to be for community feed, and the third LI is going to be for mutual friends, just like that. Then inside of our right nav bar, we are going to also have here a UL, which is going to have the LI, and the LI is going to have the AI field message, don't I have this imported here? Oh, is this AI, sorry. Then the second li, pardon, it is going to be for the hi bell, just like that. Then after this ul, still in the right navbar, we are going to have here a div with a class name of, here is going to be user content, and inside of the user content here, for now we are going to just have here a paragraph which is just going to first of all display the username, and for now let me just say code env, and 2 here for now it is going to be slash profile slash maybe 2222 or 33, just like that, where we are going to have this guy here, and also we are going to have beneath here, we are going to have an image which is going to have an src. Here is going to be for the user, we are going to import the user, and also have an add image of code media profile, and don't forget to close your image tag. Then on top here we are going to say import maybe user from. Since we are in the components, we need to go 2 steps out of the component. Then we want to target the images folder like this. So everything now, this is the user profile picture, which is great. Now instead of here, we are done with the script. So now let's move on to the styling. So now inside of your styling, first thing first, app nav bar, give it a height of 70 pixels, 70 pixels, and also give it a background. Let me shift it so that you're seeing how everything is being applied. Background of var primary color, just like that, and also a width of 100%. Then you can give it here also the include flex align, so that it aligns everything horizontally. Then after doing that, you can give it some transition of trends. Then also give it here the padding of 0 top and bottom gap, just like that. Then also after that, you give it a position of sticky, and it should be sticky at top of 0. And also we're going to include, this time around it is going to be flex between. So the flex between is just justify content said to be between, so it separates now the contents on the left side and the right side. So inside here, we're going to take here our left nav bar, and our left nav bar here is going to just include flex align, and also is going to have here some gap like this, and then take this paragraph that was inside of here, give it a font size of 1.5 rem, and also a font width to be bold like this. So now it has increased this paragraph that was found here. So now outside this paragraph, you want to take in the URLs that are found here. First thing first, include flex align. Then you want to give it a list style none. You also want to give it here some gap of SM gap like this, so that they should be separated from each other. Then also some padding of 0.5 rem, just like that. Then also transition trans, just like that. So for now they are like this because this image is very big. So let's take in the LIs that are found inside of these guys. For now, give them some background var. Yeah, it is going to be nbj, just like that. The neutral background, which is going to have some height of 30 pixels, then padding of 0 top and bottom, then you have SM gap. Then also include flex center so that it can be centralized. There you have it. And let me reduce this, let me bring it somewhere like this, so that you're seeing as we are working automatically. Then give it some cursor there to be pointer, then also border radius of 5 pixels so that the corners can be a little bit rounded. And also the color here, it is going to be var text color, just like this. So now if you have everything okay, we are going to move on to the right navbar, which is outside of this left navbar here. So here, right navbar, inside of the right navbar, we are going to include flex align, and also inside of here we are going to give it also some gap, which is going to be the gap. Select all the URLs that are found there. You can copy the URL styling here, copy it and paste it here. Select the LIs here, give it this LI the height of 40 pixels, give it also a width of 40 pixels, then also some border radius of 50% so that it can be rounded. And now then also the background of var, the accent color. So there you have it. Then also you can include flex center so that it centralizes them horizontally and vertically. Then also transition, let me shift this guy up, transition of trans, like that. Then after this you can also give it some cursor to be going to the pointer. So going outside of this UL, yeah, I can select now the user content, just like this. And first thing first, as we usually do, we include the flex align. And after the flex align, you can now give it the gap like this. Then now image, you can now just say include user profile, just like this for the image, and it is going to make everything to be smooth. But it's massive, not everything is applying as it should be applied. So what's wrong? Widen the screen. Oh, it is inside of the link tag, so sorry. So I need to select the A and I wrap everything that's here inside of this A like this. So now, yes, there you have it. So now if I click here, it's going to take me to the profile page, just like that. Great, so we are done with that path. We are done with the sidebar, we are done with the navbar. Now let's work on the share. So let's go to the share. Inside of the share, let's import some things that we're going to be using. Let's say we are importing user from images, and let's say also we are importing share options from constant dummy. Inside of here, I'm going to give it here a class name that is going to be for the share container, just like that. Remove the share text. Then we are going to have here a div which is going to have also another class name that is going to say share, let's say share top, and we are going to have also the share bottom. So let me just duplicate this, and we're going to have here share bottom like this. Now instead of a share top, we are going to have an image img with src of user, and it is going to have an alt code media profile, just like that. And also we're going to give it an attribute of draggable to be false. Then you close your tag. Then beneath it, we are going to have a div which is going to take in some class name attribute, and is going to be for the input container, and which is just going to have an input, the type of text, and the placeholder to be equals to what's on your mind, and it's a self-closing tag. So yeah, then in the share bottom, what I would do here is I would say, first of all, wrap them inside of a UL. Then I would say now here share options dot map, and for each map, and for each option, and I also want to collect the index, then I'm going to return directly an li, which is going to have the key equals to the index. Then it is just going to have here option dot icon. So if I save here and I go back here, you can see the design, how it's taking shape. Then after this here, after this UL, we are just going to have here a button post, just like this. Now we can go now inside of our share and let's start cooking up something. So inside of our share, first thing first here, inside of our share container, we are going to have some background of var, which is going to be the primary color. We are going to have also some semicolon, some gap here, sm gap, like that. Then we are also going to have some border radius of 10 pixels. We are going to have the border of var border. Then we are going to also include flex direction, and don't forget add include flex direction. Then don't forget your direction parameter, which is going to be colon. Oh, sorry, here was padding, and we're going to give it here a gap, just like that. So taking a look at our share so far, this is it. Now let's work on the share top. So that share top, instead of our share top, we are going to include the flex align, and also we are going to give it here some gap of sm gap, and we want to give it there, you should take a width of 100%. So width of 100%, just like this. Then we want to take in the image and include user profile, just like this, and yeah, there you have it. So now after that, we can now go back up here. Then we take our input container div, give it here a flex of 1, which is going to stretch out itself as far as it can go. Give it also a border radius of 20 pixels, then also a background of var accent color, which has already applied, which is great. Then we can take in the input that is found within it and give it also a width of 100%, then also include input, then also color var text color, just like that. And if I go back here, you can see the design is great. So I think I have a typo here, so just like that. What's on your mind? Then if I'm done with this guy, I need to go to now to the share bottom. Now inside of the share bottom, clicking the share top dot share bottom, then I include flex between, then I target now my UL that is found within it, and now say I can also include flex align, and I can give it also some list style of none, just like this. So there you have it. Then also I can give it some gap of SM gap like this. Select my LIs that are found within it. Inside of my LIs here, I can give it first of all the cursor of pointer, and also I want to target the SVGs because the React icons are SVGs, so I can give it here a font size to increase your font size of 1.4 rem. Do increase the font size to suit your own need. And outside of this UL, I can now take the button that is found inside of here. First thing first, here some stylings, which is going to be for the include button, the color, the background, border radius, and the border. And if I save it, it is something like this, so which is great. Now we are done with the sidebar, we are done with the navbar, we are done with the share. What we can work on right now is the post container. So I'm going to go back to my home page, take this post here, and inside of this post here, what I'm going to do here is, first of all, let me give it a class name, which is going to be post container. Remove the text, and inside here we want to, first of all, let's import what we are going to be using here. So we are going to import here posts from constant dash dummy. So now inside here I'm going to say now post dot map, and for each post and the index of the post, I just want to return directly here. Let me import again, import post from. So after I'm done mapping here, I can now return this post, and inside of this post here, I'm going to first of all give it a key set to be the index, and also I'm going to give it here the post. I'm going to give it here, and the post is going to be this post that is being mapped, just like this. So if I now save it here, we need to see we have here 4 different posts. So now inside of these 4 different posts, I can click here and see what this post constitute of. So now we have this post here, so I can go back here now, open this post page. First of all, bring in my post, that is from there. Then now inside of my post right now, I'm going to import some key things that I'm going to be using. The first thing that I'm going to be importing here are going to be the icons that I'm going to be using. So let me just copy and bring these icons since they are long. So these are the icons I'm going to be using: the BI bookmark, BI comment details, we have the BI spot dot vertical rounded, BI like, and also the MI share. Then also after this we are going to say import link from React router DOM, just like that. After importing it from React router DOM, we are going to have here a class name attribute which is going to say post content. Remove this text here which is going to say, here we are going to have a div here with a class name of post top. Then we are also going to have here preview. So let me just say preview. So instead of our post top here, we are going to have also another div. Let me just copy this div. So instead of our post top, we are going to have here the post header, and instead of our post header, we are going to have another which is going to say another div which is going to have the post user, and we are going to say here is going to be an image which is just going to say the src, which is going to be for the post dot. If I take a good look inside of the dummy, so I can say post dot profile. So inside here I'm going to say post dot profile, and the alt is going to be code media profile. So just like that. And inside of this, if you take a good look, you're going to have the different profiles. Now beneath this image here, we are going to have another div, which this div is going to be, the div is going to be of post user info. Then we are going to have a paragraph here which is going to be for the post dot username, like this. So I have it the showing. Then we are going to have also here a span which is just going to say 12 minutes ago, just like that. And now instead of our post options here, outside of this div which is the post user info, and also outside of this post user here, we are going to have here a UL that's just going to say have some LIs here, li here, which is going to be for the first li that we're going to be having here. It is going to be for the BI bookmark, and the second li, it is going to be for the BI the dot vertical rounded, just like that. If you save it, there you have it. Then after that, you're going to, after this URL and after this div, you're just going to have a paragraph The paragraph is just going to be saying here, I'm going to give it a class name for it to be post underscore text, and here it is just going to say post dot text like this. And instead of this image preview, this post preview, I'm going to wrap it with a link, and the link is going to take it to, which is going to be to maybe post. Then now it's going to take in, let me make this to be dynamic. It is going to take it to the post, and it's going to take in here post.id, just like that. Then after this, you are going to render an image which is going to say src, and the src is going to be post.image, and I'm going to give it the auth, which is going to just say code media post. And when you're done with it, then now you're also going to have beneath this, you're going to have also some URLs that are just going to say with some LIs here. The first one, which is going to be for like, for the like icon, that is going to say maybe like, and we can wrap it inside of a span, and we can say 30, and so on. The second, it is going to be for the share or comment, and which is going to be for BI comment details, and the last, which is going to be for MI share, just like that. And with everything said, we are done with our design and everything is ready. So we now everything done with this post, we can now go back to style our post. So now if I go back to my home and I go back on this post here, let me import the styles for the post styles. Then I want to take in here post dot scss, just like that. And now inside of this post dash scss, what I will do is, instead of here, I'm going to say post container instead of the post container, first thing here, I want to first of all include, which is going to be for the flex direction, which is going to be for the colon, and also I want to give it a gap, and width also 100%. Then the post content, also give it so that it should be full, width of 100%, and also the background of var primary color, and also the border of var border, and border radius of 10 pixels. Then after this, if you save it, nothing that much will appear right now because the width and the images are full. So instead of this post content, I'm going to say post top, and instead of here, going to copy again. Let me bring these guys instead of this post content, and the gap, instead of it being gap, is going to be sm gap, just like this, to give some spacing. And also I'm going to give it some padding, which is going to be also sm gap, like this. For now it's not showing that much, but it is going to be showing as we are going in front. So now instead of the post top, I'm going to select the post header. I'm going to include flex between, and also inside of here I'm going to select the post user. Instead of the post user, I'm going to say include flex align, and out of the flex align, I'm going to give it also a gap of gap or sm gap, just like that. Then I can now target the image, and I can now say include user profile, just like this. It's my safe as stylings are not being applied. What is wrong? What can be going on wrong? Is there a typo? So let me go back here. Okay, it is post with s. So I think maybe that's where I have the typo. So I can save it. Voila. So now there you have it. So you can see it has changed. This one, the name and everything here. Sweet. So now after this post user, we want to take in the post. We want to take in here the post user info, and instead of the post user info, first thing first, as we usually do, we want to take in here include flex direction, and you pass in your direction, which is going to be column, and I want to take in the span here to give it some font size of 0.7 rem, so that it should be small. This span, as you can see, it has applied the styling on it. So after that, we can now take in the post options by going outside of this and also outside of this. And now we can now see here that we can say post options here, and first thing first, we want to include the flex align, so it can be horizontally, so that it can be horizontally centralized, horizontally aligned, but it's not applying. So let me go back to this post, this one here, post options. So actually I forgot to give it here a class name to be post options like this, which means that now they need to align themselves. Okay, great. Sometimes little typos you make on the way. Now inside here you can now see, after this you can give it your gap of sm gap, and also give it some list style set to none, and so you have it just like that. Then now your LIs that are found inside of it, you can give them the cursor of pointer. Then the SVGs, you can increase their font size, and give it 1.4 rem, just like that. And there you have it. So we are done with that path. Now we are going now to work on the post preview. So let's go to the post preview. So if I go back to this post here, after this post top we have the post preview. So inside of the post, outside of the post top, which is this, I can now here have here the post preview. Instead of the post preview, first of all, I want to take in the image, give it here a maximum height here 500 pixels, and the object fit of cover, just like this, so that the maximum height these post images are going to contain is going to just be 500 pixels maximum. So now outside this image here, we are going to now take here the post actions. Hope I give that one. So yeah, I'm going to give it a class name on our post actions, copy it so that shouldn't make any error. Post actions. Now instead of the post actions here, first thing first, instead of these post actions here, I'm going to say include flex between, and here what I'm going to say here instead is not going to be justify content space evenly like this. So if I go back now here, you can have it like that. Then I'm going to give it here some list style to none, and also give it some padding here, which is going to be top, bottom, left and right to be sm gap, just like this. And now you have something like that. Then the LIs that are found inside of here, we can say include flex align to centralize them vertically, and we can give them some gap of sm or we can give them some 0.5 rem gap, then some q source set to be pointer, just like this. So now we have it. So we already have the post, the sidebar, the navbar, the share, and the post. Now let's work on this feed sidebar. So now instead of this feed sidebar, instead of the feed sidebar, I'm going to import from, which is just going to be directly, I'm going to import here the friends, and I'm also going to import here recent requests. So now instead of this guy here, give it here some class name of home feeder sidebar. Then inside of this, I'm going to first of all have here the recent request, and also I'm going to also have the friends, just like this. Save everything here. You can see now everything here has been saved. Great. Then instead of here, let's work on this guy here first. Import the styles and recent request.scss, just like this. So where's the error coming from? Oh, so actually I forgot the /, so which is great. Now instead of the recent request, I am going to import here recent request from constant and dummy. So inside of here, I'm going to have some class name of recent request. Remove the text, then inside of which I can say a recent request dot map for each request, and the index of the request. I want to return directly a div with a class name which is going to be recent container, and that is going to take a key that is going to be the index, and I can close this div. Just like this, so I don't have any problem. Then I can have a div here that is going to take also a class name of recent user, and I can close the div. Then instead of the recent user, we are going to have here an image that is going to take in some src, that is going to be first of all request dot profile, and I'll just put the art. This time around is going to be empty. and also a paragraph that is going to say here the request dot user or the request dot name, and if I save everything here, was wrong. Okay, actually I had to reboot the thing. So now you have the recent request here, which is interesting. So now after doing this, I am going to have, instead of the recent request, after this paragraph here, or after this div, I'm going to have another div which is going to have a class name of request action, which is going to be this by having, let me close the div. It is going to have two buttons, the first one which is going to be for accept, and here you are going to have decline. So having this accept and decline, what I can do here is, I'm done with this, so now I can go to the CSS. Instead of the recent CSS, now instead of this here, what I'm going to say is recent request, and first thing first, I'm going to include flex direction, and here which direction do I want to pass? I want to pass in the column, and I want to give it some gap here, which is going to be sm gap, like that. Background of var primary color, then it's going to have some padding that is going to be top, left and right, with bottom there is going to be sm gap. If you can see, but the stylings are coming very soon, so as if I have some typo here, which is recent request with s. So now you can now see the shapes that are coming now. So instead of the recent request, I already have that, and also I can have here some border set to var border. I can also have here some border radius, which is going to be 10 pixels, like this. So now you can now see. Then here I can say here recent container, just like this, and I can also include these same guys here, but instead of using this, I can say 0.5 rem. Then after that, I can now say dot recent user. Then first thing I want to say, include flex align, Then also I want to have some gap here of sm gap, just like this. So we're going to remove the scroll very soon, and I can take in the image here by just say here at include user profile, just like this. And now it's going to reduce the size of the image. Great. So now I have this, I have this. Now after these images, what I can do here is I can now say here recent actions. Then first thing first, include flex align, then gap also, which is going to be sm gap. Let me just copy this, just like this. For the buttons, recent actions, I guess it is instead of this recent container. But anyways, let's just keep continue styling here. Instead of these buttons here, I'm just going to bring in the buttons, the styling. So instead of here, I'm just going to say buttons, the buttons that are inside of this recent action. Why are they not? Oh, request. So here it is, request actions, just like that. Sorry. And there you have it. So now, with that being said, we are done with the recent requests. Now we need to work with the friends. So having everything, let's go to the friends, which is the last one remaining. So give here a class name, which is going to be for the friends container. Remove the text. Then inside of here also, let me just copy this, recent requests, and inside of here we are going to also do the same mapping. So I can copy this and I can put inside of here. Let me remove this particular div here, and inside here we are going to just have here, instead of recent container, we are going to have here friend container. Then we are going to have an image here, then it's going to have the src that is going to be for the request dot profile. Then after that you can have here the paragraph, which says here requests dot name, then have some span here, last seen recently. So now having this, you can go back here and you are going to see, which means that we need to style it also. Going back inside of the friends, coming here in the friends. So inside of the friends here, we are going to do is take the friend container, and as we usually do, I am just going to import this, copy this same styling here, and I'm going to paste it inside here also, so that they have the same kind of the same shape, but for now, since we're still working on them. So now after that, we can now take in here the friend container, and the friend container here I want to say include flex align gap of sm gap, and we want to take in the image here to also include user profile like this, but it is not yet applying, which means that we have some problem. Friends container, just like this. So you have it like that. Going back here, after the image, you can take in the paragraph and include flex direction and column. Then you take the span and give it some font size of 0.7 rem, just like this. So now what we need to do now here is, instead of this feed sidebar, the feed sidebar here, this home feed sidebar, it is inside of the home page. So which means that instead of this home container here, if I go back to my home, the home container, I can paste this guy here, and first of all say I'd include flex direction and column, then give it a gap like this. So now it separates them from each other. So now we are done with the home page of our build, and everything now looks great, everything. So now what we need now to work on is on the login page. So I'm just going to go to login here, and for now we just have only the plain text. So going back to my text editor, I'm going to open the login file. So inside of my login page here, I am going to import some different things that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to say import, and what I want to import here is going to be a link from React router DOM, and also we're going to give here a class name which is going to be app__auth. Then we are going to have here login. Then on top we are going to have some functions, and we are going to have the first one, which is going to be const handle submit, which is going to take in the event, and we want to first of all say event dot prevent default, so that the browser is not going to be refreshing every time we submit. The second function that we're going to have here is going to be const handle Google Auth, which is going to be for Google authentication, that we're going to implement from the second part of the video. And also let me just bring this one down. It is going to be handle git hop auth, just like this. And yeah, there you have it. So now I'm going to remove this text, and beneath it I'm going to have a form, where the form is going to have on submit, and when it submits, you want to say handle submit, handle submit, submit this one. And inside of here, we are to first of all have a paragraph that is going to say, let me remove, we are going to have a paragraph which is going to have a class name that is going to say auth header, and we are going to have here a code media, and we are going to have a span that is going to say here login. And beneath it, beneath this paragraph, we are going to have some input container divs, where we are going to have some input inside of them. And the first input, which is going to be, since it's the login page, we are going to have the email, type of email, and the placeholder is going to be email 3 dots. Then we're going to have some other input containers. I'm just going to duplicate this one, and instead of this being email, this is going to be for password, and here it's going to say, instead of email, password. Then beneath this input container, what we are going to have is a button that is going to say here, is going to have also a class name of auth action, which is going to say here login, and beneath we are going to have the or container, and we are going to have the or text. Then inside of this div, we are going to have a paragraph that is just going to say or. Then beneath this div, outside of this div, we are going to have another div which is going to be for the or wrapper. Then now inside of this or wrapper, we are going to have two buttons, which is going to be two buttons, and we are going to have here Google, and the second button is going to be for GitHub, just like this. Then now inside of which we are going to have here a class name of Google. Let me just copy this class name, and here we are going to have, here is going to be for GitHub, just like this. And above here, let me just duplicate these lines, we are going to have an onClick, which is going to be handle. The first one is going to be for Google Auth, and the second one is going to be for handle GitHub Auth. Now if you want to understand how I did this code trick, I use Control Shift or Command Shift, then I either go up or go down depending on the lines you want to have. So now with that being said, after this, I'm going to go out all of this div and this or wrapper and the or container. I'm going to have a paragraph that is going to say here, this paragraph is going to have a class name, which is going to say link, the link wrapper, which is going to take here don't have and account question mark. Then I'm going to use now the link from React router DOM, which is going to say to, and it is going to go with me to the register page. Then I'm going to say here the text that is going to be inside register, just like this. And if I save everything, and I think everything here is running, so now on this page this is how it looks like, so which means that we need to style it. So if I go back here and I open this auth page, which is empty, now inside of my auth page I want to first of all select the app auth, just like this. Then first of all I want to give it a background, which is going to have the var, and is going to be the secondary color, just like that. And also is going to have a height of 100 view height. Then also we want to include everything here to the center. So if I save it and I go back here, what's wrong? Do I have a typo? Going back here, app auth, or maybe it's still, yeah, it's still compiling. So let me go with this, my VS Code down, so that after the compilation is shown, we are going to see as we are working how everything is changing automatically. I don't know why it's taking some time to compile. So now there you have it. We have the flex center, and also we need to give it a width of 100% so that it can be horizontally and vertically centralized. Now there you have it. So now going back here, inside of my form, what I want to have here, first of all, I want to give my form a background of var, which is going to be primary color. And let me shift this on the left, var of primary color. And also I want to give it here a padding, which is going to be for the gap. And border radius, it is going to be 10 pixels. Then also going to have a width of 35% so that it shouldn't be full. As you can see, there you have it, it is coming. Then also we want to include the flex direction, and don't forget you need to pass in the direction, which is going to be colon. And also we want to give it a gap, which is going to be SM gap, just like this, as you can see. Then outside of this we are going to have a border, which is just going to be the var border, yes. Then inside of this form we are going to take the auth header, which is this paragraph here. Inside of this auth header, first of all I want to include this flex direction here, which is going to be for the colon. And also outside of it I want to give it maybe a text align to be center, and also it is going to have the color, it's going to have some color, which is going to be for the var b color, just like this. So now if you see, now everything is coming into shape. Great. Then I'm going to target the span that is inside of it, so that I make the span text to be somehow a little bit smaller. So I'm going to say a span, and I'm going to give it a font size of 0.7 rem, like this, so that it should be a little bit small. Yes. Then after now I'm going to go outside of this auth header, and I'm going to say input container where the inputs are being kept. First of all, going to give them the width of 100%, just like that. And also I'm going to target the inputs that are found inside of them. So inside of the input, I'm going to give the input width of 100%, and beneath it I'm going to say include input, like this. Then instead of include input, I'm going to have some border which is going to say var here, and is going to be for the borders. So if I save it, you can see that the inputs are. And also I want to say the color, which is going to be for var text color, just like this. And now you have your inputs, which are amazing. So now outside of this input container, what you're going to go now inside of the or container. Inside of the or container, first thing first, we want to include the flex direction of colon, so that we can apply some spacing inside of it. Then we want to give it a padding of 3 rem 0, that is 3 rem top and bottom and 0 left and right. Then we are going to target our or text. Instead of our or text, we are going to give it a position of relative and a height of 2 pixels, and also a background of the var accent color, just like this. There you have it, the lines are already showing. So now this paragraph that is going to be inside of this or text, we are going to give it here, it is going to be position of absolute, height of 50 pixels, and also a width of 50 pixels. Then it is going to have a background of var primary color. Then it's going to also say include flex center for it to be centralized, flex center, like this. So there you have it. For now it isn't showing that much, so we're going to work on it. Then also we are going to give it some border here of var border, and we are going to give it some border radius of 50%, so that it should be rounded. As you can see, there it is. Then we are going to give it some top of 0, and also bottom of 0, left of 0, and right also of 0. Then we are going to give it the margin to be auto, which is going to centralize it both vertically and horizontally. So there you have it. Then after that, we are going now to select this, go out of this P and also out of this or text, where we are going now to select the or wrapper, where inside of this or wrapper here, first thing first, we are going to include the flex align, and we are also going to give it a padding top of 3 rem, just like this. Like this makes some sense right now. Then inside of it, after the padding top, we are going to give it here some gap, which is going to be for the SM gap, just like this, so that it gives now some spacing between here. Now outside of this or wrapper here, I'm going to go out of it to select these two buttons that are inside of them. So first thing first, I just want to select like a global styling to all the buttons, so which means that I'm going to go outside of this all wrapper and I'm going to go inside of the form itself, which is this form here. So I'm going to go inside of the form itself here by targeting all of the buttons that are there. First thing first, I want the buttons to have a flex of 1 so that they can grow as maximum as they can. And also I'm going to say include button, then with some border radius of 5 pixels like this. And also I'm going to add some transition of trans, just like this. And to the goggle, let me select the goggle dot goggle. In order for me to do that, I need to add the pseudo class, the and symbol, because I'm using it as CSS. Then I want to target the background and I give it here the var of red color, just like that. And if I go back here, you can see. And also I want to add here, give this button here some colors of white smoke. Then outside of this, I'm going to select the and dot github, and here I'm going to give it here a background of var. This is going to be for the secondary color, just like this. So now you can see how our buttons they look like. Oh yeah, I forgot, here was supposed to be border radius, so that's why the radius were not being applied. Yes, as you can see. Then inside of which I have this main button here, which I haven't styled yet, so I need to style this one. I'm going now to target the and here is going to be for the auth action, just like this. Then I'm going to give this one here a border of var border. Then I'm going to give it here some padding of 0.7 rem, just like this. So now you can have it shape. So after which, inside of this guy here, I'm going now to add the pseudo element, which is going to be for the hover. Here I just want to change the background of var, and I'll set it to the B color, which is for the blue color. And also the border is going to be 1 pixels solid. Then I'm also going to say here, use here they say B, this B color, which is also for the blue color. Now there you have our login page, which is done and successfully with some cool animation. Now what is left now is for us to centralize this text here. So which means that outside of this, going back inside of the form here, I can now say I want to target this link wrapper, and yeah, I'm just going to give it a text align set to be center. So there you have it. Now if I click now on this page, we are done with the register. If I click now on this page, we are done with the login. And now if I click on the register here, it's going to take me to the register route, but this register is not yet done. And now if you take a good look, the register and the login page, they are kind of the same, so which means that I am going to copy the JXX. So I'm going to copy everything here, copy, then I'm going to open the register page here, select everything and paste. But instead of here saying login, I am going to say here is going to be for the register, and I will say export register. Then instead of you saying here login, I'm going to say register, also here with the login text. Then now in another text element or another input, which is going to be this time around for the text, and is going to ask here instead, not email this time around, is going to be for your user name, just like that. And here the text of login, we are going to say register, and where we see here the route is going to take you this time around to the login. Already have an account, here is going to take it to the login, so I'm going to say here login, just like that. And if I go back now to the login, to the register page, so if I take this one back, now you have your register page with everything, the font, the styling, everything is working great. So now we are done with the authentication page, which means that if I go back to my app.js page, what we need to work on now is the profile page. So now I am going to open this. So now we have a profile page. So now instead of our profile page here, I am going to import some things that we're going to be using. Instead of the profile page, I am going to import, what I want to import here is going to be for the BI pencil from the React icons. Then also I want to import here post from the components, and also I want to import the sidebar from the components. Then inside here I want to import also cover from the images. So here, so now if I go back to my page to localhost 3000 here, 3000, what I'm going to do now here is I'm going to click on the icon that is going to take me to the profile page, which is here. So now instead of this profile page, first thing first, as we usually do, we need to give here some class name. So it is going to be class name of app profile. Remove the text. Then first thing we want to do inside of here, we want to first of all use the sidebar. Then inside of it, now we are going to have here the profile container, just like this. Instead of the profile container, we are going to have here the profile wrapper. Inside of the profile wrapper, we are going to have here the cover container, and inside of the cover container, we are going to have here an image, which is going to have the source of cover, and also we are going to give here some draggable of false. Then also we are going to give this image a class name, which is going to say cover img, cover image. Then outside of it, outside of this cover div, we are going to have another div which is going to say for the profile content. Then we are going to have also an image which is going to be for the user, which is going to be coming also from the images. And I'm just going to copy this class name and the draggable of false, set there. Instead, now it is going to be for the profile image, just like this. Now beneath this div, or outside of this div, we are going to have here, we are going to have the user profile data, and inside of the user profile data, we are going to have here username, and we are going to have here an h1, which is going to have the username, which is for now going to be codenv. And outside of this codenv, we are going to have here a paragraph, which is going to have here some span inside. So the first span, it is going to be for, maybe let me just say 100 here followers, and the second span here is going to be for 349 following, just like this. So now if you go back now here, you can see how the thing is very big and huge. So we are going to work on it, we are going to style it, so don't be in a haste. Then outside of this paragraph, we are going to have here, and also go outside of this div, we are going to have a link coming from the React router, and which is takes in a parameter here to where we do want it to go. For now, we want it to go to profile, and it's going to be profile, then let's say 222 edit, and inside of which we are going to have here, same as if this link is not imported, so we need to import it, just like that. Then inside of it, we are going to have the BI pencil, and just after it, we are going to have here the text, which is going to say edit profile, just like that. And outside of this div here, which is the div of the user profile data, outside of it, we are going to have, go again outside of this div, then inside of this other div here, which is for the profile container, we are going to have the div which is going to say a user data, and for now we are going to render this post component just like that. And there you have it. So now our profile section is done with the design and everything. We just need now to work on the styling of this other section. Great. So now inside of this, I'm going to open the profile.scss. I'm going to first of all say app.profile. First thing first, give it a width of 100% as we usually do, and also take here at include flex direction, and don't forget to pass in your direction, which this time around it is going to be for the row. And also height, we want it to just fit in the normal height, which are going to give you a 100%. Then transition, we want to give it a the trans variable. Then after it, we are going to take in here the user or the profile container, just like this. And inside of the profile container, we want to give it a width of 75% because the sidebar itself is 25%, if you remember. which now means that we want now to give the a padding. Here it is going to take the padding of gap. Then now outside of this padding, we want to take in the profile wrapper. Then now inside of the profile wrapper, first thing first, we want to give it a position of relative and a height, which is going to be fit content. That means the height is always going to fit the content no matter the height that's inside of it. So now you have it. Now the stylings are coming, everything is matching. So now inside of this profile wrapper, we want to take in here first of all the cover container. Inside of the cover container, we want to take in the image, and first thing first, we want to give it the height of 312 pixels, and also a width of 100%, just like this. So now if you go, now this is the cover here, but we want to give it here an object fit of cover, which is not going to make this image to be stretched anymore. Now inside of the image here, we want to give it a border radius of 20 pixels. So now, so that the borders should be rounded a little bit. Then now outside of this cover container, we are going to take in here the profile contents. The profile content here, first thing first, we want to give it here some positions of absolute, and it's going to have bottom of -7 rem, which is somehow a little bit huge right now, but we are going to work on it. So there you have it. It is going to have some left of 5 rem, and it is going to have a height of 178 pixels, and also a width of 178 pixels there. Also going to take some padding of 0.5 rem, and the border radius of 50%. Then it's going to have the background of var, which is going to be secondary color. Then now we want to take in the image that is found inside of this profile content. First of all, we want to give it a height of 100% and also the width of 100%, as you can see it, but now it is a little bit stretched, which means that we need to give here the object fit of cover, just like that, and also we need to give here the border radius of 50% for it to be rounded, just like that. And now outside of this image and outside of this profile content, I want to take in here the user profile data. Now inside of the user profile data, I will want to give it here some position also of absolute, and it's going to have here right of 0, then also some margin top of 0.5 rem, which is going to have some width of 70%, like this. So now you see everything now is taking its shape and form. So now having that width and height, now here I'm going to say include flex between here. Then I'm going to now target the user name that is found inside of it, username, and I'm going to take the paragraph. Inside of the paragraph here, we want to give it a color, which is going to be hashtag 555, which is going to be a little bit darker, and gap of gap, and also we are going to say include flex align, just like this, so that here you can have this and these guys here. Then now outside of this username, we are going to take the link, which is the A. First thing we want to include this the button, and also we want to give it the background of var. It is going to be the B color, so you can see it there. And after being like that, we want to take it to give it some border radius of 5 pixels. Then also we want to say include flex align, like this, so that it can be horizontally and vertically centralized. Then we want to give it here some gap, which is going to be SM gap. Then we want to target now this SVG that is inside of it, then give it a font size of 1 rem, which is the SVG is the icon. So now there you have the design. So now we are done with the button. Now we are going to go now 3-step out, which is going to be, so now instead of this profile wrapper here, instead of this profile container, we want to select this user data. So now I'm going to now go here, inside of which I'm going to collect the user data. That's going to be just like that, and I'm going to give it here some padding, which is going to be 10 rem top and bottom, then also 15%, then 2 rem, just like this, which is now going to push this post and everything down so that everything fits in with our height and the width. So great, there you have it. So now we are done with the profile section. We are done with the profile, which now means that we can now go back to our app.js here, and the next part that we are building is this profile edit page. So now let me close all the tabs. So let me go now to the profile edit, open the profile edit.scss file, profile edit, this file here. So now instead of our profile edit, we are going to import here. The first thing is going to be the bi pen, the bi pencil from React icons bi, just like that. And we are also going to import the pardon we are going to import the sidebar from the components. Then also we are going to import from images, which is going to be the cover and the user, just like that, and you have it. Now we are going to have here a form, which we are going to first of all see here, declare an arrow function, which is going to be const handle edit user, which is going to be an arrow function that is going to take in an event. And now inside of which we are going to now to just say e.prevent default, just like this. Then inside of which here I'm going to remove the text, and I'm going to give here some class name, which is going to be app profile edit, just like this. Then inside of which I'm going to first of all here say bring in my sidebar from my components, and now I'm going to say here that the profile edit container, inside of which I'm going to have a form where we are going to have here the onSubmit. We are going to have here the onSubmit, which is going to say handle edit user, just like that. And inside of which we are going to have here the user profile pictures, and the first thing we are going to have is the cover edit, where we are going to have an image which is going to be for the cover image. Then it is going to have a class name also, which is going to set for the user cover picture. Then outside of this div, we are going to have here a div with a class of edit, which is going to say the bi pencil. And also outside of this edit div, we are going to go also out of this div here, and we are going to have another div which is going to be for the profile picture. And inside of the profile picture, we are going to have here an image which is just going to say, is going to have the source of user and a class name of user profile, and within which I'm going to go out of it, copy this same class, copy here, and now I'm going to also paste it here like this. Then now outside of which we are going to have here, so I'm going to bring this div inside of this div here, and I'm going to save it. Then I'm going to go now outside of this user div here, where I'm going to now have here some input wrapper. Inside of the input wrapper, I'm going to have input container, and my input container, it is going to be for the image, type of text, and the placeholder, which means that we can just go to the profile, to the register page, and just grab this input that we used. So I'm going to bring this here. Inside of this, I am going to select this, and I will paste the inputs within that category. So now if I go to this profile edit page, for now you just see how the texts are just on theirs. You can't see the input yet because we need to do some stylings on it. And now outside of this div here, we are going to have here a button which is going to say here update, just like this. You can see it yet, which we are going to work on it. So now we need to style out this profile edit page. So I'm going to close this register tab, go back here. So now instead of this profile edit page here, we are going to say here app profile edit, where we are going to have here a width of 100%, and also first thing we want to include is our flex direction, which takes in here row. Then we take in here the profile edit container. We also want to give it here a width of 75% because the sidebar is already 25%. Now this profile edit is going to take 75%, which makes both of them to be 100%. And also going to give it a padding which is going to be for gap, just like that. So it's going to refresh. Now you can see now how they're shipping together. So first thing first, I'm going to collect is the user profile picture, the div, and I'm going to give it a position of relative. Then I'm going to take here the cover, edit. Then also I'm going to give it a position of relative. Then I'm going to take now the image that is found inside of it, which is the user cover pic, and we are going to give it a height of 250 pixels, and also is going to have here object feet of cover. Then also is going to have the border radius of 10 pixels, just like this. So there you have it, but the border has not been applied. So it needs to be border radius of 10 pixels, just like this. Now I am going to select the edit. Going outside of here, I'm going to say edit, which is for the icon. Going to give here the position of absolute right of 10 pixels, and also the top of 10 pixels, also which is going to take here the width, the height of 40 pixels, and also width of 40 pixels, so that you can see it, this icon here. So now after it, we are going to give it here a background, which is going to be for the var primary color, and also we are going to give it a font size of 0.7 rem, and we need to centralize it, so we are going to say include flex center, just like this. But seem as if the stylings are not being applied, so I think the problem is either the naming convention that we give. So okay, so I see. So this div needs to go inside of this other div, so that's where the problem was coming from. And now you can see how the icon is somewhere here, and also we had here a typo, which is supposed to be primary color. So now if you go back here, you can see now the thing that is there. So now I think that's where we had the error. And also inside which, after this flex center, we need to have the border radius of 50%, cursor set to pointer, just like that. Now it is centralized, so it shows that it needs to be clickable. Then now outside of which, we can now take in now this user profile picture. So now let's work with the cover profile picture edit. So now outside of this cover edit here, I'm going to go out of it, where also I'm going to give it here this profile edit. It is going to be of position, and it's going to have here bottom of -3 rem. We are going to also give it some left of 4 rem. Then we are going to now take in here the user profile, which is the image. Give it here some height of 120 pixels, 120 pixels, also a width of 120. Then object feet of cover. Then we want to give it some border radius of 50%, just like this. So now you can see the guy here. Then after which we are going to take in the edit. The edit is going to have also position of absolute, then right of 0, and also bottom of 0 is going to have a height of 40, width also of 40. I just think we need to use the same edit as from this particular area here, so I'm going to copy it, then I'll paste it like this. So now there you have your edit icon. So also so now we need to take in this input wrapper edit. So instead of the input wrapper is out of this profile edit, so which means that here I'm going to go here of this user profile edit. Outside of it, I am going to now say input wrapper, where I'm going to give it here a padding of 8 rem, going to be for the top and bottom, and 25%, then 0, so that it brings this input a little bit down. I'm going to say include flex direction, and I'm going to give it here a column, and now I'm going to give it here a width of 100%, then also some gap here, which is going to be for SM gap, just like this, and there you have it. So we are going to work on it for this button, and also we are going to target the input container. Then the input container that is going to be the same, so which means that I can go to the auth.scss, and I can take in here the input container and also some stylings. So which means here can copy this, and inside which I can just paste, remove this, and remove one, which is going to be now like infinite. So here it is not going to be 100% anymore. This is going to be fit. The width here, it can be 100%. Let's say width here 100%. Now background, I'm going to give it here to be red, and let me see if it okay. So that's where the problem is coming from. So width here, oh, here is where I made the error. So here is not 1000, here it is 400%. So sorry. So now there you have it. Now I need to remove now this background, and after which I would need now to style this button. So styling the button, I'm going to say include button, and going to give it here some border radius of 5 pixels, and also going to give it here some color, which is going to be here for the white smoke, and background, it is going to be for the blue color, just like this. So now here, there you have the update page, which is now done. Now if you go back to our app.js, so if I open app.js here, what we are supposed to work on now is a post. So I'm going to open this post page. So inside of this post page, we are going to import, the first thing we are going to import here is import, it is going to be back from the component, and also the post wrapper from the components, where we will have to give here a class name of app underscore post, then inside of which we are going to have here and we are also going to have the post wrapper just like this. And also we can now say import inside of our styles folder. We want to import the post.scss, just this post here. Going back, which if I go back to the home and I click on one particular post here, so this post here, so the sidebar is a little bit weird right now, which means that we need to style this post here. So now inside of this app post here, I'm going to go inside of the SCSS, and which is this. So I'm going to say app post. First thing first, we want to give it a width of 100% as usual, and also the background of var, it is going to be secondary color, and we want to include here flex direction, which is going to be for the row, and just like that. So now you can have it here, you have the post wrapper and everything there. Now outside of this, going to go inside of the post wrapper here, and the post wrapper, which is this div on its own, this post wrapper here. Before I go here, I need to give it here a class name of post wrapper just like this, and inside of this post wrapper we are going to first of all import some stuff. We are going to say import comments from the dummy data, and we are also going to import some icons. Import mi share from the react icons dot slash mi im, pardon. So now outside of this, yeah, let's make the design first of all. So let's write the JSX, which we are going to have here, inside of which we are going to say here post here is going to be wrapper container, and inside of which we are going to have here the post image, and we are going to have a text here, which is going to be, for now I can say here for now user, but we are going to change this post image very soon. And outside of this post image div, we are going to have here another div that is going to say post wrapper content, just like that. And we are going to have here user post div, which is going to be a link that we need to import from React router DOM. It is going to say to, and it's going to go to the profile, and we are going to take here maybe 222 for the profile ID. Then inside of which here we want to give here a class name, which is going to be for the user profile, and we are going to have here image, which is going to be for the user profile picture, and a paragraph for the username, which is going to just say code env, and just beneath it we are going to have here a bi dot horizontal rounded, which is going to be coming from the React icons also slash bi, And outside of this div, this icon needs to go outside of this link, so I need to bring it down. So outside of this div here, I am going to go here and I'm going to say here it is going to be for the post content, and I'm going to have here a paragraph that is going to say here going to have a class name of post text, and for now I can just say here maybe some lorem 5, so you give me 5 text. Then outside of which I'm going to have a div which is going to be for the comment container, and inside of the comment container I am going to be mapping, I'm going to say a comment dot map, and for each comment I am going to collect also the index of the comment, where I'm going to return directly first of all a div which is going to have a class name of comments, and inside of this div I'm going to return this link, and this link which is going to take 2, it is going to be for the profile also /222 for now, and it is having a class name which says here profile, then inside of which I just have here the image of the user. I'm going to say a user. Then outside of this link here I am going to have a paragraph which is going to be for the P. I am going to have a B here which is just going to be for now code, and some empty strings inside of this here so that it gives me some spacing. Then here after which I'm going to have here a span, then I'm going to have now the comment of the user, so I'm just going to say lorem or comment dot, or for now I'm just going to have this div here which is just going to give me a lorem, maybe I can say lorem 7, so it gives me 7 text. So now after this mapping is done, I can now go outside of this div which is for the post content, and now here I'm going to say a post action which is going to be a div for the post actions, and inside of the post actions here I can now give here a UL which is going to have a class name of post action wrapper, and I'm going to have here the first li which is going to be for bi like, just like this, and I'm going to have a span inside of which I'm going to have here 30 only. Then going to create the second div which is going to be for the comments. So after this I can say liked, and I can also say a comment, and after which I can say for the share. So here is going to be for the mi share, here is going to be for the bi comment, then outside of this ul, I'm going to say add comment. Now inside of this add comment I'm going to have here a bi smile, which is going to be an icon, and I'm going to have here an input which is going to be having a placeholder, which is just going to say add a comment, and after which I'm going to have a button that is just going to say post, just like this. So now if you go back now to this section, you can see everything is just like shanty, which means that we need to now have to style it, which is great. Now going back here, inside of this post.scss here, this post wrapper here, first thing first, I can say include flex center here, and I can give here a width of 75%, 75%. Now is going to centralize it, and also I want to give here a background which is going to be for the var, and is going to be for the primary color. Then I want to take the post wrapper container inside of it, inside of which I want to give here a width of 90% and also a height of 90%, and it is going to have here some border, which is going to be for the var border, and after the border we're going to say include flex direction, which is going to be row, and we can now take here the post img, which is the post image. Instead of the post image here, we want to give it a height of 100% and also a width of 50%. Then we take the image that is inside of it here, give it a height of 100% and also the width of 100%. Then an object fit of cover, like this. Now you can take a look at how it is going. We're going to arrange it, don't be in a haste. So now outside of this image here, this post image, we can now take the post wrapper content, and here we can give it here a 50% also width, and also we can give it a position of relative. And now we can take here the user post, just like this. First thing we want to here say include flex align, and also here we want to say include flex between, just like this. And inside of it we can give it here a height of even 60 pixels. Then we want to give it here a padding of 0 top and bottom, and give here some SM gap left and right. Then also some border bottom, which is going to be var border. And after this user, we are going to take now the user profile, where first thing first we want to say include flex align for the user profile, and we are going to give it here a gap, which is going to be for the SM gap also. Then the image that is found within it, first of all we want to say include user profile, so that the image here can be this small. We are going to work on this content very soon, so yeah. And outside of this image, outside of this, we can take the svg, and inside of the svg you just want to give it a cursor of pointer. Actually it is this svg here, so now it shows it to be somehow the pointer. Great. So now with everything so outside of this user post div, which is this div here or this selector here, we can now take here the post content, just like this. And first of all we want to give here an overflow X here, because that's where maybe the comments are going to be found. So we want to give here the overflow X, which is going to be for auto, and also some padding, which is going to be for 0.5 rem. And also we want to say include flex direction, and we want to give here some column. Then here we want to give it here some gap, which is going to be gap, just like this. So as we are going to be working, the images that are very big, we are going to restyle them. And now outside of this post content, we want to go to the comment container, and I think instead of this post content we have this comment container. So I can bring this one back up. Yes. So now instead of this comment container, we want to include these same guys, the flex direction and the gap. Instead of it being now this, we are going to use the SM. We are going to use the SM gap. Then now we can target each comment on its own. And the first thing first, we want to say import this same properties, but now it's not going to be column here, it is going to be for row. So now you can see now the different comments that we are having. Now instead of these comments, we want to take this image, which is the found inside of the link. So instead of here, we want to take the image, and the first thing first here, we want to include the user profile, and also we want to give it here some border. I think the user profile comes with the border radius. Okay, so now there you have it. So these are the comments that we are having here, so which means that here inside of these post actions, we can first of all give it a position of absolute, and the bottom is going to be 0. These post actions here, so why the styling is not being applied, so they are out of this post content, which is the main div. So post content here, So this needs to go down. Pardon. This needs to go one step outside. So now there you have it. So we have here the height. We need to give it a height which is going to be for fit content, and also a width of 100%, just so that it will take this entire space. Then instead of which we are going to have here a background of var, and this var is going to be for the primary color, and we want to take in the UL, which is this post actions wrapper. And the first thing here, we want to say include flex between, just so that it will spread out, but some as if it is not applying. So instead of this we have this div here. So let me copy the name and I paste it here. So now there you have it. And instead of which, this same div we have here list style of none, and also we have some padding, which is we are using here some SM gap padding for the small gap, and we want to give it here some flex of 1, just like this. Then now instead of here, we are going to have here, after this flex, we are going to have some border top. It is going to be for the var border, just like this, so that you can give this horizontal line at the top. Then we are going to target these allies, and we can use include flex align, and we want to give them some gap, which is going to be for the SM gap property, so that they could be spaced together. Then outside of this post wrapper, we want to take in the add comment, and inside of the add comment, we want to first of all take in the include flex align also, and the gap, it is going to be 0.5 rem, and we want to take the SVG and give it the font size of 1.5 rem, just like this SVG here. When now outside of it, we can also give it here some border top. So this add comment is also going to have a border top of like this. Then we can now take in this input, and first of all give it here some color, which is going to be for hashtag text color, or we can give it here a var text color like this. Then also we can say include here for the input, just like this, and this input needs to change. Okay, so it has changed. And also we want to give it here the flex wrap, which is the flex, it is going to be 1, so it's going to take as maximum space as it can. Then instead of this add comment here, we, instead of us giving here some gap, we can give here some padding rather, so like this, some spacing, just like this. Then for the button that is inside of this div here, we can target the button. And first thing first, here we want to say that here we are going to give it a color, which is going to be for the var text color. Then we can say here include button, just like this. Then we have something like this. So now for us to make this thing a little bit fancier, we can go back inside of this post wrapper. We can say here so that we get each dynamic post on its own. So here we are going to say here that const post equals to post coming from this dummy data array dot. Here we want to find the posts. We want to find one single post, and here we want to find here the post dot id. Then first of all we want to make it to be a string to string. Then we want to find here, since it's a function, the post that is id equals to maybe the location that we are found in. So maybe I'll just say here in string here location. But now how can we get this particular location that we are found in? We can now use here the hook coming from React router. So I can say here const location equals to use location coming from the React router. And now if I say now that console.log location, we are going to have here, let me open the console. So this is our console here. It gives us an object here, which means that we can take here the console.log.path name. So now instead now here we have now this path name, but now we want instead now this particular id that we have here. So now I'm going to say here that const path name equals to location dot path name dot split. And what do I want to split? I want to split it with this forward slash, because they are separated. And now if I now go here and I say maybe log to me this path name that I have here, it is going to return to me an array. And we now have this particular string here, which is at index 2. So now here I can now see this guy at index 2 like this. So now I'm logging this particular array. So instead of me just logging this path name, I can now say now here, so now location, instead of this I can now say path name. And now, which means that instead of saying this, I can now say a console.log this particular post, and I'm going to have here a particular object which is going to have here the post, the image and everything, which is really cool. So now inside of here I have here the post object, which has here the text and the username and also the profile picture and the ID. So now here, instead of me returning here the user, I can say here post dot maybe the post dot profile, which is this one here, the post dot profile, And also, rather for me just returning this, I can say here post.username for it to be static like that. And inside of here I can say here post.image, the image that was posted, and now we have this particular image here. So now, which means that if I go back to my home page and I select this particular post, you can have the post here. And if I go back here and I select this particular post, now it goes and finds this particular post and brings to me it and the user and everything. If I select this one and I go back here, as you can see, everything now works fine. Now one thing left now for us to work on is the theming. Anytime I click on this theme, I need to change the theme. So right now I'm going to close everything here and I'm going to open this, close everything, open here the Redux. And since we're using Redux for our theme management, we are going to be using Redux for our states that we're going to be using in this project. So yeah, first thing first, I'm going to open this theme here. So inside of this theme.js here, this is where we're going to be making the logic. So first thing first here, we are going to say here const theme, and we are going to say here that json.parse, and yeah, I want to say local storage dot get item, and yeah, I want to say a theme. Now inside of which I'm going to say export here const the theme slice, and I am going to say create slice. So anytime you're about to create a new particular slice inside of Redux, you can use the create slice that is coming from the Redux. So you say create here, create slice from the Redux toolkit, and now first thing first, you need to pass in now your slice name. So now the slice name that we want to have here, it is going to be for theme, and its initial state here is going to be for the theme. And if we have a theme, we are going to use the theme. If you don't have a theme, we are going to use the light theme, or we can use the dark theme instead. Pardon, so here I need to put here the, and also here I forgot to put the comma. Okay, now outside of this, we now need to have here a reducer, and this reducer here, this is where we have now all of our function. So now first thing first here, we are going to have here something, a reducer that is going to call toggle theme, which is going to be a function that is going to take in here the state parameter, and it is going to have something like local storage dot set item theme, and it's going to have here the theme. We want to set in here the theme, and first of all we want to say json here dot stringify, and yeah, we are going to create something that is going to be for the theme action. We haven't created it yet, so theme action dot toggle theme, and we will pass in the state. So let me just first of all say that import this theme action from theme services, just like this, so that the error can disappear. And now when we are done with it, I want to return this particular theme action dot toggle theme, and the state that is found inside of this theme. So just like this. And now outside of this export here, I can now say now export const, and now it is going to be for the toggle theme, and toggle theme equal to theme slice dot actions, just like this. And now also here, don't forget to say export default your theme slice dot reducer. So now we are supposed to create this particular guy here. We haven't exported it, so for now we need to go inside of this theme services. So inside of this theme services here, we want to say here export const, and it's going to be theme action, which is just going to be this, and an object that is going to say here toggle theme. And inside of this toggle theme, we want to take in here the state, and we want to write some condition here that if the state equals to light, then what we want to do now here is return dark, else yeah you return the light theme. So now there you have it. So now if I go back now here, we have this toggle theme inside of here. So if I now see this guy here, so you can see we have it here. So now inside of now our store here, so in order for us now to wrap this thing, we need to import now our Redux, and we are going to say here inside of here, we are going to say here configure store, which is going to be coming from Redux toolkit. And what do we want to configure? First of all, we want to have here our theme reducer from this theme.js here, and inside of this here, we want to now say export const store. Here is going to be wrapping all of our stores for the authentication and everything, and we want to now say configure store, and we want to give here the reducers that are going to be inside. And for now, the only reducer that we want to have here is going to be for the theme, and is going to say theme reducer. So now we are ready to use this store and everything here, which means that instead of our index, we are going to import some stuff that we're going to be using. So inside of this page here, we're going to have here import the provider from React Redux, and also we are going to import our store from this store. Is going to be coming from Redux, and it is going to be from the store. So now here, in order for us to use this provider, we are supposed to wrap everything here. So it's going to be a provider like this, and inside of this provider here, we need to give it here a store variable, and this store is going to be the store. So after this, we need now to wrap our whole entire application with this provider and the store that we've created now, which means that instead of our app.js here, we can now say, and above here we can say const theme, it is equals to use selector from React Redux, and we want to take in here the state that is found inside of it, and we want to take the state dot theme, just like this. So for now, if I log this theme to the console, and I open my console here, you're going to see that my theme for now, it is dark, and if I go back here, in order for me now to be performing these particular classes, so I can now say here now data or dark, let me just say dark theme, or yeah, I can just say data, let me say data theme here, and it is going to be having this theme here. So now you need to go back inside of your app.css here, whether for using dark theme, you need to say data theme here, just like this. And now if you go back to your website, you are going to see now this. So in order for us now to change this particular thing, let me close everything, let me close all the tabs that are open, and I go back to my sidebar. In order for me now to make this thing now to work here, inside of this theme that we have here, so inside of my sidebar here, in order for me to be performing this so that it should work, so I'm going to say here const dispatch equals to use dispatch, and I can now say now here my theme const theme equals to use selector, and this selector taking in the state, and it is going to return to us the state dot theme, just like this. Oh, const, yeah, sorry for that. Now inside of this state here, we can now just say a dispatch, and what are we trying to dispatch? We want to now say the toggle theme, and this toggle theme here we haven't imported it yet. So now here I can say import from, here it is coming from Redux and theme, just like this. What are we trying to say here? We want to take in here the toggle theme. So now here, since this toggle theme is a function, I forgot to call it. So now here, if I now close this sidebar here and I click this toggle theme, you can see it changes to light mode. And if I go back to the home page, here we have everything today light mode. And if I click it back, it takes me back to the dark mode, and if I click it back, it now takes me now to the light mode. So friends, we finally came to an end of this build, and if you loved it, if you liked it, please hit the like button and follow for more for the part 2, where we are going to be building the REST API for this particular project. And in the third video, we are going to be integrating the REST API and the front end together in order for you to make your full stack MERN application. So I'll see you there. Peace.